Welcome to the final part of Area of Study 1 for Unit 4. This is the whole section on human change over time. So we've talked a lot about natural selection and the mechanisms for evolution, such as mutation, genetic drift, bottleneck effects, allopatric speciation. We've talked about how we can determine how related species are by looking at their amino acid sequences or their DNA. We've also talked about looking at the fossil record and how you can date fossils. So now we're just looking at this last little subsection, just responds to human evolution. Okay, so it isn't the whole of evolution, it's just about human evolution, and it starts off with this section on the shared characteristics that define primates, hominoids, and hominins. So we're in your final booklet. It's got the yellow title on it, and I am on page 2. So what does it mean to be a primate? So essentially, primates are everything that we think of when we think of monkeys, apes, humans, chimpanzees, bonobos. All of these are all primates. Some of them have tails, some of them don't have tails. We all tend to have something in common, yeah? And we'll talk about exactly what we've got in common right now. So everything from a monkey through to a human, we are all considered a primate. But what makes a primate a primate? And here are a whole bunch of different things. So what you've got in your list there is it says something structure, yeah? So what we've got is we've got a social structure. So if you need to, you can pause. So these guys, we live in a social society, or in a society, funnily enough, and monkeys do as well. They rely on family groups and even a little bit bigger than family groups just to maintain their structure. They also have what we call a long gestation, which means that they're pregnant for quite some time. It means the baby develops quite a lot while it's in utero versus, say, a chicken where it lays the egg and it lasts for quite some time outside the body, or it grows outside the body. We have a long gestational period inside the body. They don't have a very good sense of smell. Monkeys aren't very good at smell. However, we do have excellent binocular and colour vision. Yeah, this colour vision is a really important one. And binocular meaning 2 eyes. So binocular and colour vision. And then the number one thing that I want you to know about primates, and this is the bit you can't forget, these guys here, yeah? These opposable thumbs. This is what defines us and monkeys and chimps and gorillas, all of us as the one group. This opposable thumb. What does an opposable thumb mean? An opposable thumb means, yeah, so here's you've got a siamang, which is a type of monkey on the right. Then you've got chimpanzee in the middle and a human on the left. And you can see all of us have a particular opposable thumb. In the case of the monkeys and the chimps, they've even got one on their foot too. We've lost the ability to oppose our thumb on our foot. But that's a longer story for a little bit later down there. But this opposable thumb allows us to do things like grip and twist, yeah? So we can grip and twist things, and that's what is really, really important to identify about primates. So the other things that we've got here is we've also got nails. So if I was to remember a few features about primates, I would 100% always, always, always remember that all primates, all monkeys, apes, and humans all have opposable thumbs. We also don't have claws. We have nails on the back of our fingers. Yeah, all of us have nails. You can look at yourself to help you remember these, which is really good. And then anything else other than that, you could remember. So you could remember that we have binocular vision as well. That's a pretty good one to remember, that we've got this really good binocular vision and colour vision. And as a result of that, our sense of smell isn't very good. We also have quite large brains compared to our body. And that's got to do, that's going to help us to evolve in some ways. Or our common ancestors must have had these large brains, and that's would have helped them to evolve into some of the different groups that we have. Okay, so living primates that we have at the moment. We've obviously got ourselves right down the bottom here, our Homo sapiens. In addition to that, you have the prosimians, which are lemurs, lorises, and tarsiers. I think there's a lemur thing at the zoo, the one that you walk through. and the lemurs are there. We also include, primates include the New World monkeys. They include the Old World monkeys. They also include all the apes, the gibbons, the orangutans, the gorillas, the chimps. Yeah, and one of my favorite, the bonobos as well. So all of these are included in primates. Here is a phylogenetic tree of primates. So you can see off here we've got Old World primates. This is the common ancestor. And then you've got your monkeys, your capuchins, your squirrel monkeys have all diverged down here. Then you've got some other ones in the middle here. You've got your baboons and your macaques, and they've diverged from the hominoids, which I'm going to talk about in a second, around here. And then you've got things like the orangutans diverged back here, the gorillas, and the bonobos and the chimps also diverged back there. About, what's that? Just about 4 million years ago, did the humans and the chimpanzees have a common ancestor. So remember, we didn't evolve from apes. This bit here is a common ancestor. So both humans and gorillas and orangutans and all of these monkeys all diverged from a recent or from a common ancestor, and it just depends. So the humans diverged from the orangutans around 10 million years ago. So we had a common ancestor about 10 million years ago. We had a common ancestor with baboons about 21 million years ago. And we had a common ancestor with monkeys about 35 million years ago. All right, so what we can do is we can actually knuckle down these primates and make them into a smaller category. Yeah, because we are primates, but we are also what we call a hominoid. So humans are from the family hominoid. So primate is an order. Yeah, you can see that here, order. And then family is underneath that. Yeah, so you can see there are suborders, there are superfamilies, but in particular, we're going to talk about the superfamily of the hominoids. Yeah, so the hominoids include all the apes and the humans. So I want you to think, what is it that you would say is different about a gorilla and a monkey? Yeah, or what is there different between a human, a gorilla? Human and gorilla have it in common, but a monkey doesn't. So I want you to pause and have a think. Yeah, you might even want to get some pictures up and think about what they have in common. Okay, now hopefully we came up with a bit of a list. Yeah, so these are the ones that are in the hominoids. The hominoids are the chimps, the gorillas, the orangutans, and the humans, not the monkeys. Okay, so what do monkeys have that everyone else does? Da, 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 da. Hopefully you came up with the fact that we don't have a tail. Yeah, we don't have a tail, gorillas don't have a tail, chimpanzees don't have a tail, orangutans don't have a tail, but monkeys do. And this is one of the defining features of a hominoid. So we are all primates, but then if you don't have a tail, then we say that you are now a hominoid. We also have a larger brain case. Yeah, the hominoids tend to have larger brain cases than the other monkeys. And then they start to get shorter arms compared to the legs. If you look at a monkey, even one of those monkey toys, they have really, really long arms. Yeah. So as you go to a chimpanzee, the chimpanzee's arms start to get a bit shorter. Their legs stay around the same length, or at least ratio-wise, that works. Yeah. So this is what we look at. All of these are all hominoids. Hominoids. Yeah, you can see that the orangutan diverged from a common ancestor back here. The next closest one to the humans is the gorilla. Then back around this point here, which on this tree says it's about 6.6 million years ago, humans shared a common ancestor with what are now the bonobos and the chimps. Yeah, and the bonobos and the chimps kind of diverged from each other around here. Yeah, so all of these humans, all of these human-like species that we are about to talk about, they are all called, so this branch here, just this coloured branch here, so hominoids is everything. Yeah, and just this little branch here, let's colour it in. These are the next ones. These are the hominins. Okay, so now we're getting more and more specific. Now we've got a subgroup of the hominoids called the hominins. Yeah, and the hominins contain all humans and any human-like species. So you should be able to define the word hominin. Now, every single hominin is extinct except for this guy. Yeah, we are the only extant or living. So extant is the word that I just said then. So extant means we are the only living species. We are the only living species. We are the only extant species of hominin. And so this is how it goes. So the term hominin is used pretty much to determine all this bit down here, this genus down here. So we call these, if we share the genus Homo or even a genus Australopithecus, which I'll get to in a second, these are all hominins. If we share the same family, yeah, all of these are hominoids. I'm going to put that down here, hominoid, and I'm going to spell it correctly this time. Sorry for the time that I spelled it incorrectly on the previous slide. Doesn't really matter. The ECAR are pretty good on that. And then if we go a little bit bigger, that next group up here, these are called the primates. So you know in that previous section where I gave you a video on the difference between phylogeny and taxonomy, this is taxonomy. So taxonomy is your kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. And so if we're talking about the fact that we have the same family, hang on. If we have the same family, that makes us all hominoids. If we have the same order, that means everyone underneath that is a primate. So what makes a human or a hominin, or what makes a human different from the rest of the hominin groups, and why are we the only ones still left? So we have a very complex brain, obviously, and then this one here is a really important one. The larynx is the voice box. So the fact that we developed a really complex voice box allows us to do exactly what I'm doing right now, which is talk. Yeah, and that's really, really important for our history and our evolution. We also have the ability to walk upright, which is called bipedal locomotion. Bipedal locomotion. We have a short, flat face, and this will make sense later on. We also have small canine teeth. That's these ones here. I won't talk about this teeth because I don't have time. We have a very long infancy and childhood. Yeah, you guys are still considered adolescents at 18 years old, whereas other primates, you would be old age or dead. Yeah, so therefore we have a very long infancy and childhood. We also have this one, big, big, big. Yeah, we've developed the ability to speak. We've also developed the ability to make complex tools. So here is a little Venn diagram for you to do. So anything that the hominins have should be present. So anything that the primates have should be present in the hominoids and the hominins. Yeah. So therefore, things like the big one that I said here was going to be my opposable thumb. Yeah. So I want you to go back and have a look at what other features of primates are there. Then the next one are the hominoids. These guys in particular, I want you to focus on the fact that we've got no tail. The hominins, we've got speech, we've got flat faces. Yeah, we've got a whole bunch of different things there. So I want you to go through and fill them in. So pause and try and fill it in. And then I'm going to get you in 3, 2, 1, answers. Yay. So you can pause there and go through those answers as well. And that is the end of my video on primates, hominoids, and hominins.